down there in that cold air and that light rain is Ken Rosenthal.
Joe, the Padres certainly seem loose in their clubhouse. Guys were doing crossword puzzles, listening to music, turning it up loud. Manager Bob Melvin held a meeting with his players before the game. He basically just wanted to remind them of the perspective that they should have, of what they faced this postseason, these exact scenarios. They won an elimination game on the road in New York to knock out the Mets. They also won 3 straight games in a series. That's how they defeated the Dodgers. The question now is whether they can summon the same type of resiliency again. Now, over to Tom Verducci.
Well, thanks, Ken. The question is simple. The task is difficult. Can the Padres hit Zach Wheeler's fastball? Their season depends on it. Wheeler is throwing harder than he has all season. He's allowed only 3 hits on his 4-seam fastball this postseason, 1 to the Padres when he dominated Game 1. Padres hitting coach Michael Bradar admitted his hitters got beat by that fastball in Game 1, but he said we're seeing Wheeler for the 2nd time in 5 days. We will be ready for it. Joe, I know you're ready.
Can't wait to do it. Padres better hope they're ready for it if they want to get this series back to San Diego. And John, Zach Wheeler in this postseason has doubled down on that classic power pitcher identity.
Yeah, and you really don't have to change, right? You just see what their attack mode is going to be. The Padres were one of the most patient teams offensively. Again, if they can come out of their norm and be more aggressive early, that's where Wheeler's going to be aggressive with that fastball, slider. He throws an occasional 2-seamer, and the curveball he saves in his back pocket. Curveball hard to hit. So look for him to just repeat what he did until he sees a cause for difference.
The lineup that'll face off with here in Game 5 will look like this. Jurickson, Profar, and Juan Soto, 1 and 2. Then it's Manny Machado. Jake Cronenworth up into the cleanup spot today. Josh Bell bats 5th in DHs. Drury's at first. Ha-Seong Kim, a couple hits in Game 4, is the shortstop. And the Padres trying to get the bottom of the order going again. Grisham and Nola came into this series hitting .381 in the postseason. They're 1 for 30 combined in this series.
And the other thing that the Phillies have done a great job all series is kept traffic off the bases before Soto and Machado come up. And that partly is that lower the lineup, but also the leadoff hitter could do some damage if he gets on base to create stress for the opposing pitcher.
This Padres trying to get this series back to San Diego where they've got Snell and Musgrove waiting. The Phillies snapped the longest postseason drought in the National League as the last team in the field. And now 1 win from the World Series. Profar climbs in. Wheeler comes home, and off we go. A fastball and a swing and a miss.
Well, his fastball has been electric, and he has been in rhythm since he's come back.
He missed about a month, just giving his elbow some time to rest. And in the 6 starts since that month off, he's got a 1.05 ERA. Including those 7 shutout innings, just 1 hit allowed against San Diego in Game 1. His 1-1 to Profar is a cutter inside, ball 2.
Well, the Padres, unbelievably, yesterday got this. This was the quietest we've ever seen the crowd yesterday after about 20 minutes of scoring 4 runs. But then the Phillies offense got them right back in, and they were loud the rest of the game.
And a 10-6 Phillies win in Game 4. With those 4 runs in the top of the 1st inning did the Padres. It was only the 3rd time in postseason history that a team did that and lost. Zach Wheeler fires. Profar fouls it off. The Jurickson Profar quietly has had a solid postseason for the Padres. He's reached in 10 of his 11 games. Some good defense. He had an outfield assist last night. We'll try to set the table for the big guys that'll follow him in Soto and Machado. On another 2-2 from Zach Wheeler. Fouls it again.
Good life already, and you would think he's coming in fresh, knowing what's at stake, right? The ultimate goal of a starting pitcher on an elimination game is to not put it on anybody else and finish the deal. Well, he may not finish the game, but he wants to put his team in a situation to have the lead late.
Tries another 2-2. Profar pokes it foul again. Well, Wheeler's pitched in 3 postseason games so far. Has a 1.40 ERA in those 3 games. This is his first one in front of this home crowd.
With 2 strikes, he has. The opponents have an on-base percentage of less than 200 at about 190. So
Profar finally puts this one in play for Alec Bohm. It takes Wheeler 8 pitches, but he gets him for the first out of the day. Well, the guy behind the plate in this one, Quinn Walcott, was behind the plate for one of Zach Wheeler's complete games a year ago. A complete game, 3-hit, no-walk performance. So some comfort with the man calling the balls and strikes. It's part of this 6-man crew. 1 gone in this first inning, and here is Juan Soto with his first home run of the postseason last night. Goes after the first pitch.
yeah, and that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to pick out a fastball, because really the scouting report in the previous game was attack the San Diego Padres with fastballs, and it was a big key for Wheeler to go 7 scoreless.
Boy, he is just coming at him, not waiting around at all. And he's ahead of Soto 0-2, who's feeling that one.
Now we'll see if the dirty trick of a starting pitcher or any pitcher happens when a guy fouls one off his foot. Typically you go further in with the pitch after a foul ball. He threw a cutter in there and he fouls it right off the foot, misses the shin guard. Now Soto's been pretty good on making the adjustments on the pitches in. He got a couple hits on him in this series.
He has been better on pitches in than he has pitches away in this series, which is a little bit flip-flop from what he normally does when he's so good going the other way. 0-2 from Wheeler.
Wheeler typically in his first start, he kept that curveball at bay and brought it out later. That curveball's a tough pitch on the opposing hitters as well. Keeps it in his pocket till he needs it.
Not giving up a hit in the postseason on it. 0 for 17. Good take from Soto, and it's 2-2. Soto has homered against Wheeler twice in their previous meetings. A lot of those in the National League East through the years. 2-2. Ground ball to first. Hoskins kind of handcuffed for a moment there, but he went down to a knee to get it. And gets Soto for out number 2.
Been an emotional roller coaster series for Hoskins yesterday, coming off that incredible 2-homer night and had some hiccups in the field. That's the beauty of baseball, though. The next day you can kind of continue it or atone for it.
2 up, 2 down in this first inning. Manny Machado, captain for the Padres. Home run in the first inning yesterday. Padres didn't lose that game because of a lack of offense. They scored 6 runs. They had their stars perform. Soto and Machado both went deep. And today they've got a guy they feel like on the mound that can protect that if they do it again. In foul ground at first. Hoskins near the sidewall. Can't quite get it. Tom Verducci, nice save down there. The starting pitchers in yesterday's game, just 2 outs combined between Bailey Falter and Mike Clevenger. And so it became a battle of the bullpens. The Phillies pen just 2 runs allowed. Padres pen had given up 7 runs all postseason prior to that game. They gave up 7 in yesterday's game alone. 0-2 on Machado.
Well, the scouting report has early been the Padres swinging early, trying to get to that fastball as soon as they can. All 3 of them swung at the first pitch. Pretty simple. What the Padres are trying to do is create as much pressure as they can and really give their starting pitcher a cushion here in what is an elimination game for the Padres.
Wheeler's 0-2. Ball 1. Zach Wheeler needed 24 pitches to get to the first inning in the game in San Diego last week. 17th of this first inning here to Machado is a 1-2. Wheeler actually admitted to some nerves in that start. As calm as he looked and as calm as he normally is, he said, yeah, that jacked up crowd at Petco Park. He said, I was nervous in that first inning, but once he settled in, 8 pitches, 5 pitches, 10 pitches over the next 3 innings.
Yeah, he got an unbelievable groove, and we thought maybe, just maybe, he could go all 9, but went 7 and turned it over to the pen.
After 83 pitches, another 1-2. Fouls it straight back. That velocity playing up again.
Yeah, postseason, you're going to have extra adrenaline. Certainly when you're on the brink of going to the World Series, you got to know you're going to have an uptick in your velocity, and you just hope you have the same spin and control on your secondary. And so far, he's been right on point.
But to your point, John, it was 96 on average in the regular season. It's been 97 so far in the postseason. Almost 99 on average in this first inning, with a trip to the World Series there for the taking. Machado trying to keep this first inning going for Jake Cronenworth. 20th pitch for Zach Wheeler. It is a 2-2, and the count goes full.
Typically in these games, when you have a chance to advance and you're on the mound, it should be the longest, most concentrated effort you have, because you literally don't pay attention to anything other than the next pitch. You can't get caught up in everything else. You can't get ahead of yourself. It's one batter, one pitch at a time, and it'll be the longest game you pitch if you do it correctly and don't give the other team any hope.
Wheeler peering over that glove, waiting for Machado to settle back in. The 8th pitch of the at-bat is a 3-2, and there will be a 9th.
I mean, they may not get anything in this first inning, but what they've gained is the ability to look at a lot of pitches and get that pitch count out, right? Look, the Phillies had to use a lot of resources to get to this point. They don't have as many resources in the bullpen, even though it kind of reset itself, as do the Padres, who haven't been in a position to use them.
And Machado here working along at bat just like Profar did to start the game. On the 9th pitch, swings and misses, and ultimately it's a 1-2-3 first in last night's game. In the same lineup tonight, why not? Kyle Schwarber leads off, then Rhys Hoskins off his 2-home run game yesterday. Real Muto catches and bats third. Bryce Harper out of the cleanup spot, then Castellanos and Bohm, and it's Stott, Segura, and Marsh, 7, 8, and 9. Yu Darvish, game 1 of this series, pitched really well but lost because Zach Wheeler was better. 7 innings, just 2 runs. They came on 2 solo home runs, and that, John, has been the only way to get to him this postseason.
Yeah, he's been really good. The command has been good. Obviously, he spins a baseball about as good as anybody. He's got about 17 different directions he can make a ball move. But today, it's going to be all about the same formula. Like most pitchers who have success, the question is, do I change it up? Do I zig when they're zagging, or do I attack the same way because he only gave up those 2 solo home runs? So we'll see how he attacks the Phillies second time around.
Maybe a little different to this guy who hit the longest home run of his career in that game. Ball 1 on Kyle Schwarber. Hit it on a cutter. And Schwarber, who started this postseason 1 for 20, is hitting .429 with 3 home runs in this championship series. On this 1-0 pitch, Schwarber takes a curve inside. Ball 2. Phillies hit 4 home runs in yesterday's game. In the 4 games in this ballpark in the postseason, they have 31 runs, 10 homers. Ball 3.
Now Darvish, being in the position that they're in, he really has to limit the damage on the bases. I mean, these kind of games, you can't go in pitching perfect, but you have to keep the game within reach at every point in the game. And it's easier said than done. Sometimes you can try to pitch perfect and the floodgates open. One run here or there is not going to bother the team, but try to keep major traffic off the bases.
Home of the 3-1 pitch. He's walked Schwarber to start Game 5. Player Resume is sponsored by Indeed. Kyle Schwarber and Rhys Hoskins, John, over the first 2 rounds of this postseason had 5 hits. In this championship series, they have 6 home runs.
Yeah, it's an amazing turnaround, and we talked about Rhys Hoskins and the kind of up and down emotional roller coaster he's had in the postseason, but he's responded offensively to erase those other feelings.
Normally you get redemption like he did last weekend, and it's okay. Now you take off. But a week later, he found himself seeking the same thing, and he found it with 2 two-run home runs in the Game 4 win. 1 ball, no strikes. He wasn't ready for the throw, but oh my goodness. Oh.
Luckily, it was a lob.
2-0, and he's missed with 6 of his first 7 pitches.
He's great at spinning the breaking ball, and he's great at changing the shape of the breaking ball. Right now, it's been out of the zone. He's working himself in a little bit of trouble behind the count against this home run hitting top of the order.
On 2-0, Hoskins took a strike. Darvish is 2-1. Bouncing ball to third. Machado goes to second for 1. Cronenworth to first. There's 2. A double play wipes him clean in the first inning.
That's huge. The only way you turn 2 right there is you have to have 2 perfect feeds. The first feed and then the throw to first. And Machado almost like every time throws it right on the money. He goes to his left, throws it right there, and the throw just beats Hoskins. Not the most fleet of foot, but still not hit super hard either.
5-4-3 double play. Bases empty for JT Realmuto.
That's going to be the key in an elimination game, and I've pitched in my share of them. You never want to give the other team any momentum. You really want to be able to go batter to batter, moment to moment, and don't get carried away with anything else. That right there is a huge double play for a starting pitcher, especially on the road.
Realmuto here with the bases empty and 2 gone. One of the 4 home runs last night. Well, in 1996, you were in a situation identical to the one that Yu Darvish is in.
Right.
You're down 3-1 on the road, needing to keep your season going. You did, and your team came back and won that series.
Yeah, we won 3 in a row because our pitching was lined up. The Cubs won 3 in a row because their pitching was lined up. And the San Diego Padres have their pitching lined up. And 3 pretty good pitchers, to say the least.
But you can say that, John, about today's game with Suarez and Hader behind him, and you can say it about the series with Snell and Musgrove in the rotation.
Yeah, no doubt. And when the Cubs came back, of course, Cleveland was on fumes with their starting rotation, so they were able to outpitch them in those 3-game comeback. But the key really is setting the tone early and giving your offense the best chance they can to get on top and change the criteria for Rob Thompson.
2-1 on Realmuto.
But early on, Darvish has not thrown enough strikes early. He has time to make that, change that, but he has thrown a lot of behind the count pitches in the first inning.
The #1 strike thrower in the majors this season. It's a swing and a miss there, and it's 2-2. 17 seasons as a pro for Yu Darvish. 7 of those in Japan. His 10th year in the majors. Second one with the Padres. He's got a scoreless first inning as he whips that fastball to the knees. And after 7 runs in a bonkers first inning in Game 4, nothing in the first inning of Game 5. To your 6 picks in the NLCS contest. If all 6 picks are right, you could win big. Well, that first inning last night was wild. 7 runs between these two teams, but both pitchers faced the minimum in the first inning in this one. So Cronenworth, Bell, and Drury, the middle third of the lineup against Zach Wheeler. Jake Cronenworth goes after the first pitch and knifes a little knuckler over there to Bohm. 1 pitch, 1 out for Wheeler.
Well, and that's going to be the dilemma for the Padres, one of the most patient teams in all of baseball, but they can't afford Wheeler to get to 2 strikes. They really can't. They have to be disciplined enough to swing at a strike on first pitch. He throws a lot of them. And they got to try to pick their spots to really kind of ambush. They say ambush a pitcher when you know a fastball's coming. Other than that, they're going to have their hands are full.
You talking about the adrenaline of pitching in a postseason game, and then a notch above that, the adrenaline of pitching with a chance to send your team to the World Series. Zach Wheeler in that first inning threw his 4 fastest pitches of the year.
Yeah, I mean, this is adrenaline rush time for pitchers.
Ball 1 on Josh Bell.
I've always said these kind of games, when you're either trying to pitch your team into a World Series or you're trying to pitch your team into the next game, because it's an elimination game, will be the longest game you pitch mentally. Because what you've got to recognize is that if you're on the downside and trying to get the team to come back to San Diego, every pitch has to have a purpose, and you don't know how long you're going to be in the game, so you grind it pitch to pitch.
Got the call, 2-1.
And that's easier said than done, because when you're in a regular season game, you don't really think like that, because it's a long journey and you're still pitching to make outs, but you're more aggressive, more 3-1 fastballs. You're not taking any chances in this game, and you're trying to prevent the big inning for sure.
Wheeler's 2-1 to Bell is back to the inside corner. He got it right on the edge and then a little bit farther out. Got the call again.
This might have been inside off the plate, but he'll take it. Any pitcher will take this right here. There's always a side. Just a little extra.
Swing and a miss. 5 up, 5 down for Zach Wheeler.
So a little bit of reverse pitching. Pitcher decides right away if he's going to pitch backwards or the exact same. When you've had success, it's probably more easier to pitch backwards than when you haven't had success, because what you try to do is kind of zig when they're zagging and vice versa, and you try to create a little bit different version. And it's been more curveballs than in the previous game early. He's thrown a lot of curveballs.
You always wonder how a guy's going to handle that, facing a lineup twice in a row like this. Strike 1 on Brandon Drury. He's been one of the Padres' hottest hitters. He was 1 for 15 coming into this series. He's hitting above 400 with a home run and 5 knocked in the championship series. On this 0-1 from Zach Wheeler. Drury watches, strike 2.
I mean, that right now, he is so in tune with his fastball and the fluid motion. I mean, he is dotting it on the outside part of the plate with late life.
Looking for a 1-2-3 second. He's got it. Country hardball from Zach Wheeler. 9 pitches in this 1-2-3 second inning. Trip into the postseason in his big league career. And he faces Yu Darvish, guy that he hit one of those 4 home runs against in Game 1. First pitch this time. Swings and misses. Strike 1.
Yu Darvish has a bunch of change of speed breaking balls, and he is just a master at really spin. And I'm sure he's going to try to spin as many different breaking balls against this heavy home run hitting lineup.
It's interesting, John. We have that conversation about how much do you change from one start to the next when you see a team in twice in one series. If there's anybody who's equipped to be a completely different guy and still be comfortable, it's him.
Yeah, you got so many pitches you can put in your back pocket. I'd be more apt to throw a fastball in up right here just to show you're willing to throw the fastball to Bryce Harper. I know the fastball got hit away for a homer, but you've got to be able to show that you're going to throw him a fastball up in the zone and have success with it. 2 spinners to start, maybe a fastball up a little tighter above the belt.
The hole for Harper in the way that Yu Darvish likes to finish hitters. 6 of his 8 strikeouts in this series have come on fastballs. He's got that splitter grip. Harper was ready for it. Base hit the other way. Makes an aggressive turn. Profar holds him to a leadoff single.
Yeah, I didn't like that pitch selection. He had 2 breaking balls and got him to swing at one and take the other, and another one that wasn't a breaking ball but a split. And the theory is that ball's supposed to dive away from the barrel of the bat, but it also is nowhere where the defense is. You see the split grip and you see it diving away, but he stays on the ball with 2 strikes, does Harper. He is as good as he gets right now. And, you know, coming into the playoffs, he was struggling. He was trying to find it. Looks like he found it.
Yeah, I would say. Really struggled the entire time since coming back from the broken thumb. MVP form before the broken thumb. And then he comes back in August and just could not find it. But it's like a switch has been flipped since he's gotten into the postseason. Leadoff man on for the Phillies. Their first hit against Darvish. And it was another one with 2 strikes, which has been a theme this weekend. 2 out hitting, 2 strike hitting for the Phillies. And he's tied the longest hitting streak in a postseason in franchise history. Lenny Dykstra, 93. Castellanos on the ground is short for the 2nd time in as many innings. Yu Darvish rings up a double play.
I just can't even tell you what that does for a pitcher and a team. I mean, to get back-to-back double plays after the leadoff hitter gets on in the postseason, that is a huge rally. In the regular season, that leadoff hitter got on. But this ball was hit firm and fairly easy double play. And all that does for a pitcher is go, whoo.
Now again, the only way that teams have gotten runs against Yu Darvish in 3 games this postseason is to hit the ball out of the park. And the 6 times they've done that, there's been nobody on base. Alec Bohm with 2 away. Lays off. 1 ball, no strikes. Bohm had a good game 3 on Friday night, but then went 0 for 4 with 3 Ks last night. Now, Padres fans may be noticing, wait a minute, Yu Darvish using pitch count, something that he did a little bit early on this season. And again, if you're unfamiliar with pitch count, Austin Noel, the catcher, sends the signs through this receiver on his shin guard, and then Yu Darvish hears it in a receiver in his hat. But something Yu's not done for a lot of the year. Not enough buttons for those 11 pitches.
No, I'll say he definitely has the most pitches of any pitcher I've ever seen, and shapes the baseball about as good as anybody.
Whatever your weakness is, Yu Darvish probably has a way to exploit it. Here's his 2-1. Ouch. That hits Bohm. Got him in that back elbow.
That's no fun right there. That's, I'm sure his fingers are tingling. Man, it'll take him a little while to get that feeling back, and then he'll have to figure out if he can that affect his throwing.
It's funny, Bryson Stott's walk-up song is "I'll be A-O, A-O, okay," and Alex got to be down there thinking, speak for yourself, buddy. This stings. Alex Rodriguez during the pregame show picked the Phillies to win, and this was his pick to click. He said on a big Bryson Stott homer. The rookie shortstop lofts the ball to right field for Juan Soto. And that'll bring this second inning to a close. A couple double plays to help Yu Darvish. Adds up to $375,000 in donations for hurricane relief. Ha-Seong Kim takes strike one from Zach Wheeler, who has been locked in through 2 innings.
He has, and the Padres have tried their best. They've swung at 5 of the first 6 coming into this inning, trying to get that heater early in the count.
You can almost count on it. You're going to get a first pitch strike from this guy, and probably a second pitch strike too.
You know, he's lanky, and he's got that delivery where we call it long levers. The elbow comes out, the hand's behind you, and boy, he goes downhill extension, and the ball explodes out of his hand. 4-seam fastball.
Just high, ball 1. Ha-Seong Kim, 2 hits yesterday. 2 of his previous 19 before he went 2 for 4, drove in a run. Padres shortstop is down swinging here. 3rd consecutive strikeout for Zach Wheeler. So as the Phillies were taking the field last inning, Kyle Schwarber, the veteran leader, grabs Alec Bohm and he says, "You're fine. Here's a little kiss."
On the inside part of the elbow, so throwing, of course, that's going to be sore for a while. Adrenaline gets you by.
1 gone for Trent Grisham down here at the bottom of the order, where the Padres desperately need to get these guys going again. And it's unrealistic to have these guys hit .381 like they did in the first 2 rounds, but 1 for 30 in this championship series. Got to have more than that.
Yeah, and what that does is that creates all kinds of pressure for Machado and Soto, and they haven't been hitting with runners on base. A successful theory for the Philadelphia Phillies pitchers.
Fastball for strike 2. Let's go down to Kenny.
Well, we've been talking about Zach Wheeler's velocity. It ticked up after he came off the injured list with right forearm tendonitis on September 21st. It's ticked up again in the postseason. I asked him about it, and he basically echoed what John has been saying. He credited the playoff environment. He said, "I don't know where it's coming from, but it's in there, I guess."
It's only natural to have that RPM kick up. The crowd's going crazy. You know what's at stake. And you feel this rush. You almost get a little bit of energy after a long season.
Strikes him out. Blows the fastball by him. That's 4 in a row for Zach Wheeler.
And I would say that you can't approach a regular season game like this because you got too many of them. You don't know if you're going to get 3, 4, 1 postseason start. And what ends up happening is you can rip the RPMs when you're under control. It's a little different. See, he's under control RPM versus I'm going to throw this as hard as I can, not know where it's going type pitching. And that always plays come postseason time when you can miss bats with fastballs.
Austin Nola, the 9-hitter, shoots it foul. The only Padre that's gotten a hit against Zach Wheeler this postseason, not in the lineup today, and Will Myers. Since Myers got a base hit in the 5th inning of Game 1, Zach Wheeler has retired 16 Padres in a row. Downhill with an 0-1 pitch. Nola watches ball 1. And this season, because he fired 7 scoreless innings against the Padres back in May, he's on the verge of 17 scoreless innings against San Diego. His 1-1 delivery. A little wrinkle in it. Bohm waits for it to come down and throws him out. Zach Wheeler perfect once through the order. Which is buzzing right now. What a great place to be a sports fan. Gene Segura leads off this 3rd inning. Strike 1 and a slider from Yu Darvish. The Phillies have gotten a leadoff man on both innings, but Darvish has had a double play to bring the bases up both times.
Yeah, Darvish's key is going to be fastball command has to be a little bit better. He can spin it, and he hasn't doesn't always have to throw the secondary pitches for strikes because they look like strikes. He can get some swings and misses, but if he doesn't hit with his fastball, then it puts a lot of pressure to hit with your breaking balls behind the count. He's been just a little off with his fastball command.
Gene Segura had the big game 3 of this series. Last night went 1 for 4. Look out. It's 2-1.
Sometimes you get so spin happy, you got a better feel for your spin than when you do for your 4-seam or a 2-seam fastball. And that's what he's been using to try and get back into the count. So until he finds the release point of his fastball, which he throws up better than anybody in the league, he's the best in Major League Baseball on the high fastball batting average against.
Well below 200 backwards, and that's what he goes to typically to finish guys, as opposed to starting at bats with a fastball. See if he goes to it here on 2-2 to Segura. It is a fastball, and it's pulled foul. Eight, 9, and 1 in the Phillies order. And this cool Sunday afternoon. Light rain continues to fall as the 2-2 comes home, and Segura cracks one on the ground to short for Ha-Seong Kim. One gone, third inning. Oh, Yu Darvish trying to be the stopper, trying to get this series back to San Diego. And our pitcher profile is sponsored by Google Pixel. Following a loss this season, he's got a sub-3 ERA. Padres have won 12 of the 18 games following the loss that he's started. 36 years old, having one of his best years.
Had those 2 clunkers in the playoffs were probably a good portion of that. He was tipping pitches, but since then he has been a different man.
Spins a strike in there to Brendan Marsh.
Special gift to have the touch he has on all the different breaking balls. The speed slows it down. He changes the direction of the breaking ball. And then to be able to pop 95, 96 anytime he wants it. And so exclusively out of the stretch to kind of simplify the mechanics so that he can get to his release point more consistently.
Always digging, always searching, always trying to get better. And he says this year having more fun than ever doing that. We talk about all these different grips and pitches. That's his passion. Coming up with different grips, coming up with different ways to throw the ball. See what he goes with here on a 1-2 to Brandon Marsh. Fastball is fouled off.
Yeah, he hasn't hit that upper fastball location yet. He spun 2 of them, missed that one by 2 feet. You saw where the catcher's target was, and then he pulled it down and in. That's usually trying to overthrow it just a little bit.
Tries it again to the 9-hitter Marsh. Goes back to the spin. Marsh hits it on a line to right. Soto's there. 2 gone in the third. Well, the MLB postseason continues tonight. The Astros looking for the sweep of the Yankees. They get underway at 7 Eastern. If the Yankees stay alive, they'll be back at it tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern, also on TBS. If necessary, we go to San Diego for the 6th game of this series. No break. That'll be tomorrow. 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on FS1. The pitching matchup for Game 4 in the Bronx. Lance McCullers for the Astros and Nestor Cortez for the Yankees.
You talk about spinning breaking balls. Lance McCullers about as good as it gets.
Yankees have not scored over the last 14 innings. And now going to try and solve McCullers. Schwarber yanks one foul. Kyle Schwarber walked his first time against his old teammate and friend in Chicago, and Yu Darvish. You said that they caught up a little bit a few days ago when the teams arrived here in Philadelphia, and he said, I might have to punch him. But as far as he hit that home run against me, I might have to punch him. And he thought about it a little more, and he said, actually, Kyle's a really big guy. I'm going to go ahead and not. Yu's a big dude, too. .65 righty, home of the 1-1 pitch. Schwarber takes another fastball that misses. 2-1.
Yeah, almost pulling the four-seamer down when he's trying to go up and the target's up. He's got good life on it, but just not hitting that sweet spot that he's used to throwing up in the zone.
Tough way to live for Yu Darvish. Trying to find the range on that fastball. Coming with a splitter here. 3-1. Hoskins waits on deck. Schwarber waits on a 3-1 pitch. No score in game 5. Here it comes. Schwarber grounds it along the line foul. 3-2.
Now I would say if Darvish was connected to the high fastball in the top of the zone, this would be the time to throw it. But he's got more feel, it seems like, for his secondary pitches than he does for the command of that four-seam fastball.
His payoff is taken for ball 4. Second walk for Schwarber. Inning kept alive for Rhys Hoskins. He followed the Schwarber walk in the first inning by grounding into one of the 2 Phillies double plays in this game. Hoskins has hit 3 home runs in 4 games in this ballpark. I'm talking about it during the division series, but there's this picture at the spring training home of the Phillies, panoramic shot of the last out of the World Series in 2008. And he always looks at that and has long thought about how cool it would be to play in a situation like that, to play in an environment like that. And he said that it's exceeded his expectations of what it would feel like to be in there. Takes a little bit high end, ball 1. And looking to play a key role, getting his team to that stage for the first time since 2009. The back-to-back trips to the World Series. On this 1-0 from Darvish, there goes Schwarber. Throw from Nola, not in time. No, he does get the tag. Cronenworth somehow gets the tag on Schwarber, who is pointing into the dugout and saying, you're going to want to take a look at this.
Yeah, I'm looking at the reaction of Cronenworth. And he would be walking off the field, I think, if he knew he tagged him. But we get the chance to look at it again. I don't think so.
No. And this is a weakness in Yu Darvish's game and in Austin Nola's game. Just there haven't been too many base runners against Darvish in this postseason for teams to expose this.
Philadelphia challenging the call of out at second base.
Well, during the regular season, 29 out of 32 in stolen bases against Yu Darvish over the last 2 years. And Austin Nola, the worst catcher in the National League at controlling the running game.
Pitchers are going to have to help out your catcher, and they've got some that are pretty slow.
Kyle Schwarber's only been caught once this season. I don't think of him as a burner, but this would make him 12 out of 13 when you factor 2 for 2 in the postseason on the bases.
The call on the field is overturned. The runner is safe.
So Schwarber's into scoring position, and Hoskins sitting there at the plate with a 2-0 count. Hoskins has done it with a long ball so far this postseason. He's got a chance with a base hit here to get the Phillies in front. He's ahead 3-0, and he's got Real Muto on deck. A green light and a shot. Rhys Hoskins owning October. 2-0 Phils.
Two outs, nobody on, then a walk, and then a 3-0 missile. Playoff formula. It's not easy to get 3 outs, and you got to grind those at bats once you get the first 2 outs, and the Phillies are taking advantage of everything the Padres are giving them.
4th home run for Rhys Hoskins in 5 games in front of his home crowd. Real Muto follows it with a base hit of his own. So many valleys in Rhys Hoskins' 6 seasons here in Philadelphia. He even got booed still before the game today, but he continues to come through redemption after redemption over the last week. But this takes it to another level, from big swing to bigger, and in the chance to send his team to the World Series, he's got another home run.
Yeah, it's a great bounce back for Rhys Hoskins. And right now, Darvish got a hot Harper at the plate. It's been a momentous offense kind of swings, meaning the teams that take advantage of some big innings, no matter if it's been with 2 outs or nobody out. Crooked numbers.
And Rhys Hoskins making a case for LCS MVP. Harper. Singled on an 0-2 splitter his first time. Loops one into right center that Cronenworth runs under and ends the inning. A 2-out walk bites you, Darvish. Then he falls behind Rhys Hoskins 3-0. Green light, high drive, earthquake here in Philly. Shaking this place. Weekend of Rhys Hoskins this has turned into. And a 2-0 lead for the Phillies as the rain starts to fall a little bit harder. And the top of the order comes up for the Padres, still looking for their first base runner against Zach Wheeler. And there was some concerns about initially the ability to play this game on schedule. That's a fly ball to right center field. Castellanos and Marsh come together, and it's Marsh to make the catch. Another first pitch out for Zach Wheeler.
Yeah, the Padres are in a tough situation because you got a strike thrower and you want to try to pick out a fastball you can do some damage with. But it also gives Zach Wheeler the opportunity to go deep in the game if you don't get some hits early in those counts. So it's kind of the push and pull. You're going to waste your time taking a lot of pitches because you'll try to hit with 2 strikes. He's throwing more sliders than he did the first game, so he's mixing it up, even though he had tremendous success putting up zeros in San Diego.
But you got to feel like even if it doesn't work, you can live with this approach. It'd be harder to live with getting beat and sitting there 0-2 all day waiting around.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge, to say the least.
Soto looks at ball 1 just off of the plate.
But he's so good at pitching to the corners that you really need to find a mistake. And if he hits the corners, you know, you got to tip your hat. You can't expand the zone.
Soto bounced out his first time. He hits one in the air, deep right center field. Juan Soto watches it fly. Padres on the board as Soto goes deep for the 2nd consecutive game. So the first base runner of the day for San Diego is also the first run. Soto with a no-doubter, 2-1 in the 4th.
Well, he got a mistake, and he did not miss it. Fastball comes out, middle, up, and one of the best at not missing that pitch and hitting it for power. Gone.
Went the first 10 games of the postseason without one. He's hit 2 in the last 2. And a response for the Padres, flipping things around from last night, where every time they struck, the Phillies had an answer. Here, the Padres immediately answer back.
And that's huge because they can't afford, after the 6th inning, to be down within striking distance, because San Diego is going to have to use their highest leverage guys. And you want to use them with the lead, right? And you want to try to secure the lead.
Now it's Machado. Saw 9 pitches his first time up. He's 99 down the middle for a strike. There's Josh Hader, who's not pitched since Wednesday. Quickly 0-2. Machado, normally the aggressive guy in this lineup, is patient here. Neither one of these teams want to see that rain when you're thinking about your starting pitchers both coming off of the bullpen game yesterday. Tries to check and does. They even started to throw it around. The first base umpire, Todd Titchener, who was the third base umpire on the check swing call from Profar the other night, says no swing.
Still one of the toughest calls to make. That bat goes by the home plate, but gets the benefit of the call.
And he says and he's ready for this 1-2. Popped up, backing out of play. Soto and Machado have been doing it these 2 games. They've combined for 3 home runs over the last game and a half. One, 2. Somehow gets to that thing. 98 up at the letters.
Yeah, I thought after he got the low 2-strike call, he would be tempted to throw that slider off that pitch, because whenever a batter thinks something's low, you try to steal another inch down below, but he tried to go up.
Tries again. Chopper to short. He wanted that thing up. Got a lot of the plate with it. And got away with it. For Zach Wheeler, 24 innings this postseason. This is only the 2nd inning where he's given up a run. He's got a 2-1 lead, top of the 4th. And Jake Cronenworth steps to the plate. For just the third time in his 17 plate appearances, John, in this postseason, he swung first pitch his first time.
Yeah, you could tell there's been a decided effort coming into this inning. 8 of the first 11 batters swung at the first pitch.
Donovan shows bunt and gets hit. You don't wear a shin guard back on that leg.
You don't see that very often.
No. Time on the board. Josh Bell to the plate. Josh Bell, who has 2 home runs against Zach Wheeler. Similar to Juan Soto, some of his career spent in the National League East, the Washington Nationals. First blip on Zach Wheeler's screen here in the 4th inning after 9 up, 9 down. The homer and the hit by pitch. And he misses away with the first one to Bell.
Bell, good fastball up hitter with power.
Up the middle, off Wheeler, back to Realmuto. 1, 2, 3. Wow, jeez. Crazy play. Let the Padres get on the board. Juan Soto, longest home run of the postseason for a Padres in this game. Rhys Hoskins with a 2-run shot for the Phillies. Juan Soto with a solo home run for the Padres. And to the bottom of the 4th we go. Yu Darvish to Nick Castellanos. Castellanos hits the ball down the line, hooking, foul.
Now I know Darvish, we talked about how he loves to spin the ball. He has to throw his fastball a little bit more often because it looks like the Phillies are sitting on breaking balls and it hasn't been as crisp. So if he doesn't start back spinning that 4-seam fastball to get him off the breaking ball, they're going to be hitting the ones that hang.
He hits Castellanos. Leadoff man on for the Phillies for the 3rd time in 4 innings. Let's go back and look at that final out of the top of this inning. Zach Wheeler gets hit in the back of the leg here. This was 97 miles per hour off of the bat.
Caught him in the area of the leg where you can give some give, right? Not in the where you side where there's not much. Looked like it catches him on the just behind the knee. So never want to get hit, period. But if it's in your plant leg, that's worse than if it's in your drive leg. And then Castellanos catches it about 3 different spots.
Everybody's getting hit. 3 hit batters in this game, and comeback of the hits Wheeler. So runner aboard for Bohm, who chases one off of the plate. And another Phillies hitter geared up for a spinner.
Yeah, Darvish's fastball command has not been his best tonight, and today he needs that to go much further. I don't know how much longer Bob Melvin, if he doesn't show that he can throw that fastball, it'll be a shorter outing than he had hoped for from Darvish.
It's Melvin, while it was a bullpen day yesterday, he's got those highest leverage guys ready down there. They can go multiple innings if he asks them. Fly to right center field. Soto's over to catch it. And Bohm is the first out.
But you can definitely tell that he's got more confidence in his spinning breaking balls than he does throwing a fastball to the desired target.
The longest streak in Major League history, 10 consecutive postseason games giving up at least 1 home run. The difference in this game from the first few of the postseason is that there was somebody on base for it.
Yeah, only 4 strikes with his fastball. And these next couple left-handers, he's going to have the fastball working. Bryson Stott and Marsh can hit a breaking ball.
Stacho's bunt takes a ball. Stop flight out on the first pitch that he saw his first time. He's got Castellanos at first, one gone. Phillies with a 1-run lead in the fourth. Swings away and launches a breaking pitch foul. Let's go down to Tom Verducci.
Yeah, Joe, you guys were talking about the fastball from Darvish, not using it. It looks like he doesn't have confidence in that, and certainly it shows in the velocity. He's typically sitting around 95 with that four-seamer. It's been about 93 today. That's a significant drop.
John, how much rain does it take before that becomes an issue for a pitcher?
It would have to be more constant than this, especially for your footing. But that's a good fastball right there up in the zone. The fastballs that he threw early, now he hasn't thrown many for strikes. When they wanted to go up, he pulled it down. So he's just in a little bit of a disconnect with his fastball. At release point, when you're throwing as many spinners as he does, sometimes one of the pitches is sacrifice. And if you don't come out establishing your fastball early, then you're trying to search for that pitch later.
And as far as the rain thing goes, not a grip thing as much as it is your footing.
Right.
Here's his 1-2.
Now it is a little pesky when you get the drizzle. But more importantly, when you've got this kind of drizzle, your grip should be fine. Your footing you're looking for is solid. It's not that big a deal yet.
Rip to right. Soto. 2 out.
The problem that Bob Melvin has is he doesn't have much of a leash to go with Darvish if he doesn't turn around and look like the nasty version that we've been seeing. And that's kind of the, cat and mouse game. We're here in the fourth. One more inning. If Darvish doesn't get connected, then you're looking at a much shorter game, because that bullpen, as far as it's concerned, is game 7 from this point on. I mean, they don't have any luxury.
Right, you can't worry about game 6 and 7. They don't exist unless you win this one. Gene Segura with 2 away. Takes a slider for a strike. If only, the Padres are thinking, if only we can get this series to Petco Park. Those home fans waiting for him, and the pitcher.
Yeah, look, we're going. If I'm them, we're going home. We got to drag a team with us. We're going home either way.
1-1. Game 6 would be tomorrow. Game 7 would follow the next day. Blake Snell would start it. And then Musgrove in game 7. Phillies have Nola ready for tomorrow. And then Ranger Suarez for game 7. 3-1 Phillies lead in the series. 2-1 lead here in game 5. A 1-1 to Segura is pop foul, and it's 1-2. Darvish got Segura to bounce out the short his first time. Not normally a high ground ball guy, but he's gotten a bunch of grounders today, including those 2 key double plays in the first 2 innings. Castellanos reached to start the inning when he was hit by a pitch. On 1-2, there goes Castellanos, a swing and a miss. And that's the 4th. To the 5th we go in Philadelphia, a 1-run game. A shot for Juan Soto in the 4th, and a rematch of game 1. Starting pitchers, Yu Darvish for the Padres, Zach Wheeler for the Phillies. Both these guys went 7 innings in the first game, both threw 4 here in game 5. Now those are 2 of the 11 occurrences of a starting pitcher going 7 innings in this postseason. The next time that we get one of those, it'll match the total from the last 2 years combined, which was going 7+. Wheeler to Brandon Drury. Got the call on that low fastball.
Yeah, that's, you know what he's saying right there? Look, he's hard enough to hit. He doesn't need any help. When a hitter goes up there and he sees a pitch down and away, paint, he now knows the strike zone gets expanded when you give him that pitch. So you got to stay disciplined as a hitter. Hard to do when a guy's dealing.
He threw a breaking pitch right out of that same tunnel.
If he'd have thrown it anywhere close to where that ended up, there's no way he couldn't have not swung at it.
Wheeler's got 5 Ks today. He's not walked anybody. Did hit a batter. Drury, who struck out his first time, takes ball 2.
I mean, at this point in the series, you have all the information you need. You've seen enough film. This is the second time around for both pitchers. And it looked like Wheeler has done a nice job kind of adjusting his style early on, flip-flopping the philosophy of the way he would throw breaking balls versus coming out in San Diego and letting it eat more with the fastball. And so he's done a nice job just kind of jumping to the
fastball's hit hard and through. Leadoff single for Brandon Drury. Tying run aboard for the Padres. Zach Wheeler, the 7 scoreless innings in game 1 of this series, and taking the ball in game 5 with a chance to pitch his team to a pennant.
The reason he's so tough, he comes out of the glove, but his foot lands in a place where it's about an NBA center, 7'2". Gets downhill and that ball explodes. So think about 7.2 closer to the plate. That velocity and that time frame that you got to make up your mind as a hitter gets evaporated quick on a long, lanky guy like Wheeler.
Ha-Seong Kim, same quality we were talking about with last night's Phillies starter Bailey Falter.
Yeah.
Only this is also 9 miles per hour.
Yeah, closer to 100. And so perception, the perceived velocity, you hear that term, to a hitter, that's more important than the actual velocity. Because if you think it's coming in there faster, your eyes are trying to track it, and then your hands are trying to swing at it.
Perception is reality when it comes to fastballs too. Popped up. Real Muto's got it spotted. And Kim's the first out of the 5th.
Well, the Padres have not done anything in this part of the lineup. They've got to find a way to crack through. 7 through 9 has been basically nothing this series.
Between Ha-Seong Kim, Trent Grisham, and Austin Nola, only 3 hits combined. And 48 at-bats is 4 for 48. Kim, Grisham, and Nola. So even though you've got those guys at the top of the order starting to do it, it's been with nobody on. Grisham, who hit .381 over the first 2 rounds, 0 for 16 with 8 strikeouts in the championship series. Been riding the roller coaster. The lowest average in baseball in the regular season before breaking out in those 2 rounds, only to fall back to his regular season struggles.
A lot of strikeouts against right-handers lately. A lot of swings and misses. That's not a recipe as well. And you know, up until recently, he's gotten more aggressive. He was taking and having really one chance to get the ball in play because he was getting to 2 strikes before even swinging.
Now, credit to the Padres collectively today. They're at least being more aggressive, knowing they've got a guy who's going to pound the zone in Wheeler. This is inside here, 2-1.
You know, hitters try to trust their hands, but their body has too much movement. The hands don't work, and it looks like you get out to try to generate bat speed. You can't do it with your body. You have to do it by staying back and trusting your hands and then letting the barrel get to the ball and where you think it's going to end up.
On this 2-1 pitch, Grisham takes ball 3. So Wheeler's gotten the calls at the bottom of the zone in this inning, but not at the top there. Trent Grisham's big moments in this postseason have come against the best pitchers. Homer against Scherzer, homer against DeGrom. Facing another one of the league's best in Wheeler. Go ahead run at the plate. Padres facing elimination here in Game 5. 3 balls and 2 strikes on Trent Grisham.
The 3-2 breaking ball, and just was able to stay back enough was Grisham.
So he slows him way down. See, he's speed him up here.
I mean, you would think his fastball's been good all day.
Goes back to the hard stuff and gets him looking. Pinpoint fastball to the inside corner.
Now, there's just nothing you can do if you're looking for something out over the plate. You see that in the inside part of the corner, just perfectly put.
And that fastball that was sitting 99 over the first inning or two, down 95, 96 now. Still using it a bunch and in the strike zone with more than 70% of them. Austin Nola hit just 4 home runs during the regular season. None in the postseason. Takes ball 1. Nola bounced out his first time. He, like Grisham, was at 381 coming into this series. He's 1 for 16. His lone hit, that base hit against his brother, Game 2. Time on the board, that's Brandon Drury. Started this inning with a single. 2-0 on Nola.
Well, for Nola, he's going to look middle. Like, that's where you hear the term, all right, got to hit a coffee can size strike zone. That's the only area you're looking for. If he paints either side, you let it go. But you're looking for middle in where your sweet spot is, and you're trying to let the barrel of the bat go if he throws it there.
So the target set. Wheeler throws. It's where he goes, and a chopper left side. Bohm sizes it up, takes his time, and throws him out. Halfway home in Game 5. The Phillies with a 2-1 lead. 22 Hank Aaron Award have been announced, and fans can cast their vote for the top offensive performer in each league at MLB.com/Aaron. Voting ends tomorrow. Padres and Phillies fans can go vote for their guys. You just saw them, and Kyle Schwarber and Manny Machado. Yu Darvish back to the hill. His team trailing 2-1. Rhys Hoskins with a 2-run shot. Padres run came in a Juan Soto homer. 9-1-2 for the Phillies in this 5th. Brandon Marsh. Strike 1. On a first pitch curve.
I would think if you're going to get your fastball going, you got to get it going against this guy, because the Thunder's coming up right after this.
Schwarber waits on deck. Then Hoskins. These two guys 7 home runs together in this series. Back-to-back curve. 0-2. All the way down to 71 with that curveball.
Yeah, he has great variance between speeds, especially when he does have that fastball working. He could throw the real slow one that you saw right there. He just has so many ways to get you out and spinning the baseball.
A tighter breaking pitch there taken.
Basically, what he's telling you right now is he doesn't have any confidence in his fastball. So he's going to have to vary the breaks and speeds of his secondary pitches until or if he throws a fastball, which he's going to need.
Yeah, I mean, that's a scary thing to get ready to face this lineup for a 3rd time, to feel like you don't know where your fastball's going.
Right. That should be #1 for every pitcher, but he has always been a high spin command guy with the breaking balls.
The first few years of his big league career with Texas, then to the Dodgers, then to the Cubs. Really started to lean into the heavy breaking stuff arsenal. He does go to the fastball, one of his best ones of the day.
And that's going to be the key. If he's able to stay in the next 2 innings, he has to hit with that pitch. I mean, this offense is too good at hitting mistakes and hitting it for power. We've already seen it. That fastball top of the zone, I mentioned to it, he's best in all of baseball with a fastball up. The league was only hitting 092. So he just hasn't had that command up in the zone. He's been able to get by without his really good fastball.
So he finds that fastball perhaps just in time as Schwarber in the top of the order arrive again. He's walked Schwarber both times today. A curve pops out of his hand. Ball 1. Looks like the rain has lessened a little bit. What's the latest on the weather, Ken Rosenthal?
It has lessened a little bit, Joe. I'm told that this is supposed to continue, the rain like this, for about the next 45 minutes and then really slow down to the point where it was right as the game started, which was not much precipitation at all.
All right, good news. Schwarber hits one in the air to right field. Soto tiptoeing to the track, and Kyle Schwarber just missed it.
See, that's the difference between Kenny and I.
What's that?
Kenny can use really big words to describe rain. I tried to do that once early in my broadcasting career, and I said precipitation. I couldn't say what Kenny was able to just smoothly say out. So I said the rain stopped.
Yeah,
keep it simple.
That's right. Participation falling from the sky. Oh man.
So they say keep it simple, stupid.
That's
right?
it. And again, there were some worries about the ability to play this game on schedule today. Everybody woke up and saw the forecast much worse than they went to bed with. Hoskins, ball 1, but they've played it right. Started the game on time. Yeah, looks like we're going to be able to move right through it. Rhys Hoskins now leading baseball in home runs this postseason with 5. 3 over the last 2 games. The head here 2-0.
Yeah, and he's disconnected with that fastball, and he's pulling it, and certainly when it comes out of his hand, it pops. Not to the degree of Zach Wheeler pop, but he has a much shorter stride length, and delivery is totally different. So
well, 3-0 again. This is where Hoskins unleashed that home run swing his first time. Darvish kind of between a rock and a hard place here. You know what happened the last time he threw one down the middle on 3-0, but you've got 3 and 4 coming up after him. 3-0 pitch. Green light again. Strike 1.
see, in the playoffs, and I'm not saying Darvish fell into this, but in the playoffs, when you get 2 outs, there's such a you got to be having so much attention to detail to the next guy, and you can't afford to lull yourself into a walk or get behind, because that's where the playoffs bite you. Everybody's grinding and locking in.
Darvish trying to keep it right here. His team within 1. His 3-1 to Rhys Hoskins. Ball 4. Oh, what a turnaround for Rhys Hoskins. First game here in Philadelphia in this series, this air on a routine play. He was 5 for 35 in the postseason at the plate at that point. The next night, though, the 2 two-run home runs. And from the air moving forward, he's 3 for 8 with 3 home runs, changing his story, not just in this series, but the way that a postseason performance can elevate your reputation. He could change the story of his time in Philadelphia with this run.
No doubt. I mean, this is a great place to play or a tough place to play, right? They expect you're going to give your all and do the things you have to do, but boy, will they forgive if you come up big.
They even cheered Santa Claus last night.
Did.
We saw that. He was here, and we got a rousing ovation. Strike on Real Muto. 1 for 2. Top of the order again, getting the job done.
Just an amazing statistic with Realmuto and runners on. Just has not had much success this postseason. It's rare for a guy who's so good at the plate.
Hoskins at first, 2 gone. Realmuto fouls off this curve, and it's 0-2. How quickly does Bob Melvin go to the high leverage guys in the bullpen? Of course, trailing, but there is no tomorrow if they don't win today. Darvish at 72 pitches. He goes deeper than anybody into games this season. 6+ in 30 of his 33 starts. Long pause. There goes Hoskins. Realmuto dumps it back. Phillies stole a base off Darvish earlier. Kyle Schwarber took second in front of the Hoskins homer. Get those cleats ready to go again. And continuing to fall. Pretty efficient for you, Darvish, outside that third, where the Phillies got the 2 runs. Another 0-2. Fastball gets him, rides up to the knuckles to get Realmuto swinging. Bookend K's on this 5th. 1 run. He's got to be feeling like here's one of our chances. Yeah. Zach Wheeler ready to face him the 3rd time. Top of the order in a 2-1 game, and a strike on Jurickson Profar.
Yeah, so far nobody showed either pitcher with these kind of pesky rain that they've altered, especially Wheeler. Man, has he been electric.
Soto and Machado to follow in the 6th inning. Fastball gets a swing and a miss. He's got 6 Ks. He's not walked anybody. After 7 scoreless innings in game 1, he's given up just the Soto home run through 5 innings in game 5. Profar stays alive.
Yeah, when you start struggling, you start looking down at your landing spot. I've noticed he took a couple peeks there. If it starts getting a little slick, they'll have the ground screw come out, because you don't want your foot to slide. You want that foot, it's going to move about an inch, but you don't want it sliding, because when you plant, you want to throw the ball downhill to the area you're intended to. So watch for that area as the game goes on.
Doesn't it become a problem just when it becomes a thought?
That's my point. Like, there's 2 things that bother a pitcher: a bad hole where the landing spot is in dry conditions, and then it starts looking slick. It's not there yet, but when it starts looking slick, your eyes don't see what your spikes feel when you get down there, and you want to make sure that is good.
Profar flies it back of 3rd. Bohm into foul ground. Alec Bohm has room for the first out of the 6th, and they keep the bases empty in front of Juan Soto.
Well, if there's ever a game plan that they've been able to execute through the first 5 games, they've done a great job not having major traffic on the bases for these 2 guys to come up. And imagine what they're doing. If they're going to do any damage, you want it to be this variety. Solo home run. But they have not had, both Soto and Machado have not had much to do with runners in scoring position this whole series.
Juan Soto's home run his last time, his 7th postseason, which ties him with Carlos Correa for the most for a player before turning 24 years old. If he could somehow do it again, this game would be tied. Trying to breathe life into these Padres. Ball 1 from Wheeler. Wheeler at 76 pitches. Remember, in those 7 innings in San Diego, he only threw 83 and said that he was getting a little bit tired towards the end of that outing. Gets the call here. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That's an unhittable pitch. Soto gets in the back of the batter's box to wait as long as he can, and he strides out. His hands are really good. But when you get that pitch right there in the upper quadrant and it's coming down, there's nothing you can do about it.
On this 1-1, Soto jumps out of the way. Ball 2. Fastball for Zach Wheeler that was 99 over the first 2 innings. It's been 95, 96 as he settled into this game. 32-year-old from Smyrna, Georgia. 3 great postseason starts coming in, all of them on the road. Pitching in front of his home crowd for the first time here. Falls behind Soto, 3-1. Can Soto get on for Machado? Nobody else setting the table for him, trying to do it for each other. One-run game, 6th inning, 3-1 pitch. Soto watches strike 2, turns the velocity up again there, and nails it on the inside corner.
That's such a great pitch. You got to have the ability and confidence that you're going to bury that pitch on the inner part of the plate, because if you leak it over the middle of the plate, that could have been very interesting if Soto connects. But he now opens up his whole pitching options on a 3-2 pitch.
Soto gets time, because that is where Juan Soto's been feasting in this postseason. The middle and in part of the plate. Represents the tying run. 3-2 from Zach Wheeler. Soto can't lay off. Perfectly executed back foot breaker.
The nastiest breaking ball he threw, and it was nowhere close to a strike. That's how nasty it was. He set him up with a fastball in to make it 3-2. And man, you're rarely going to see Juan Soto be this fooled on a pitch that's 3 feet below the barrel of the bat. But that's how good it was, and he couldn't check his swing at all.
Strikeout number 7 for Zach Wheeler. 2 up, 2 down against the top of the order in a 1-run game here in the 6th. Not out of the woods yet. Manny Machado, who's hit 4 home runs this postseason, climbs in. One of the best hitters in baseball on the first pitch. But that was a perfect first pitch.
I mean, he basically has done everything you can do with your fastball to get ahead, put the defensive mindset on the hitter, and then curveballs, forget about it. Breaking balls, not getting much action are the Padres.
Rain falling harder as the 0-1 comes home. That's away for ball 1. Zach Wheeler in the 3rd season of a 5-year contract. And he has been awesome. Sub-3 ERA during the regular season in his time in Philadelphia. Getting that chance he's waited a long time for to pitch in the postseason. They're at the doorstep of a pennant, trying to pitch him into the World Series. Machado asked for time a couple times there. The ball got wet. Wheeler asked for a new one. He's got one that he likes, grips it, and rips it with a 1-1. Strike 2.
Machado will go to a little bit more protect mode. Fastballs away or where you get him out. Boy, he loves the middle to middle third of the plate.
Get more on our free app with over 150,000 reviews. Download the MLB app today. Yu Darvish back to the mound for the bottom of the 6th inning. He's pitched well again, giving up just the 2-run home run to Rhys Hoskins on a 3-0 pitch. Zach Wheeler, 6 innings, 1 run. A lot like game 1, where both these guys excellent, as their teams expect them to be. And home runs that produce the offense. Bryce Harper starts the 6th. 68. That's borderline eephus, buddy.
Yeah, he can throw on a little bit slower than that, but he can. He's a spin master. I don't know many pitchers that can have the confidence to just flip it up there and make some of the best power hitters look foolish.
Harper today 1 for 2. Got a base hit against the splitter his first time, and then popped up. On an 0-1, Harper takes a ball. The Phillies hitters have seen Pitches as high as 95 from Yu Darvish today, as low as 68. For the mad scientist of pitching, Yu Darvish.
And Bryce Harper has done a great job when he doesn't get his pitch to go the other way. 9 opposite field hits in this postseason.
Go to the first one today. March 2nd, 2019. That was the day that Bryce Harper signed his contract with the Phillies. And he said then, I want to go to a place where I can be for a long time, win some championships. Might take some time, but that's what I envision. And after a few years of losing seasons, below 500 over the last 3 years, his first 3 years in Philly, on the big stage and performing like a star. Doesn't always happen in October. You talk about how hard the best players get pitched.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's hard for them to do what they do over the 162 once he gets to this stage, but Harper's been the best hitter in baseball.
Yeah, he came in the postseason struggling. His timing was off. He had been dealing with an injury, and you never know. Now it gets a little interesting for the pitchers. As soon as you got to start cleaning the bottom of your spikes, now you start getting a little slide on that landing leg.
Here's 1-2 to Harper. Is swung on and missed. Even slower this time. 67 for his 5th K.
That ball just pops out of his hand and has great spin going down and never gets there. Hard to wait when you have that big of speed difference. .28-mile-per-hour difference between his fastest and his slowest today. 79 pitches. He's in position to go as long as Bob Melvin decides to wait to go to the bullpen arms. Castellanos fouls back his first pitch. And he said anytime he has one of those conversations with Darvish about how much longer can you go, I'm going to take it. So those are hard conversations because Yu Darvish is the kind of guy who, if you'd let him, he'd throw 130 pitches. Yeah, I mean, and that was a philosophy adhered to before he got to the big leagues. And they were trying to condense all that pitching into more economical pitching. Boy, you don't want those things to feel like roller skates. There's nothing worse for a pitcher when you get all clotted with mud and you just hit that mound at that slope, and just all it has to do is move an inch or two more than you want it when you land.
Castellanos ahead 2-1.
We'll take a look and see if there's any give right now. He's not a huge max effort guy, but that's okay right now. That's not moving much. It's about the required movement you want, but if it goes any more than that, you'll see the pitcher call out the ground crew to get some more. What is it, diamond dry?
Yeah.
A little bit of that, a little bit of this.
Ground crew standing by. 2-1 to Castellanos. Off balance, pops it up. Jake Cronenworth with an easy out number 2, and now a quick word from Evan Williams Bourbon.
Postseason calls for award-winning bourbon. Evan Williams, 1783 small batch.
It's already into that territory you're talking about, though, where he's having to think about it between every pitch going back to having to doctor those shoes.
Yeah, and it doesn't come out easy, by the way. He's got that tongue depressor and kind of cut in like a pointed edge, but when it gets like this, you call it, who's the best pitcher, who's the best mutter, you know, the guy that can deal with the elements and still not get away from what their strengths are.
Well, Yu Darvish looking for his first 1-2-3 inning of this game. He's giving up just runs on that one swing. There's been traffic against him every inning.
That's the other thing, when you use your pitching hand to clean off that mud, sometimes you you get it on your hand, and
Bohm was hit by a pitch and flied out. Lofts this one to left field, but he got under it. And when it comes down, the 6th inning will come to a close. To the late innings we go in Game 5. Good pitcher's duel between Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler has thrown in a game since coming off of the injured list in September is 96. He's at 85 here. Remember, he was pulled after 7 innings and 83 pitches in Game 1.
Well, this kind of game, knowing you're going to get some kind of rest if you win it. I mean, in theory, if the Phillies were able to win this series, he could start Game 1. It would line up for Friday. Don't know what they'll choose, but right now he's thinking one more inning. That's all you can do in a postseason elimination game. One pitch, one inning at a time.
Part of the order for the Padres. Strike one, as he's done so consistently today. Jake Cronenworth, Josh Bell, Brandon Drury. And if you can give them the 7th inning, they've got Dominguez and Alvarado. They're 2 big guns that they stayed away from last night, waiting down there to finish it. Cronenworth sharply hit and through past Segura. Tying run aboard to open the 7th.
That ball was not hit. That ball was hit so hard, I don't think Segura got a good read. It was a late kind of reaction to the ball. 105 off the bat will do this. Watch the pitch and then watch the Cronenworth squares it up and watch the reaction from Segura. Just kind of didn't quite get on the ball. It had diving action below the glove.
All right, John, so that is going to do it for Zach Wheeler. Here comes Rob Thompson. 6+ from Wheeler, trying to pitch his team to the Fall Classic. And here comes Sir Anthony Dominguez. In a 2-1 game, Cronenworth's on. Wheeler's out, and Sir Anthony Dominguez is in, and he has been one of the best relievers in baseball this October.
Yeah, it's kind of the easiest gas you'll see in a while. I mean, he just buries the ball with his fastballs. Good changeup. Just don't want to get the ball up to Bell. Bell's a pretty good fastball hitter out over the plate.
Bell has 2 home runs this postseason. Tying run aboard, go ahead run at the plate. Padres have to win to keep their season alive. First pitch from Dominguez, sinks low, 1 ball, no strikes. Well, the Phillies last night had 6 relievers cover 8 1/3, but that didn't include Dominguez or Alvarado, their top 2 arms. And so Rob Thompson has those guys with a full day of rest trying to close this thing out. The 1-0 pitch. Swatted foul. Last time Dominguez pitched, a 6-out save in Game 3. It's the first 6-out save in the postseason for the Phillies since the clinching game of the World Series 42 years ago. Tug McGraw got his 3rd one of that variety. But he threw 34 pitches in doing so. His 1-1. Takes off on him and is off Real Muto's glove. Tying run into scoring position.
A little bit of the conditions there led to that pitch. I believe this was going to be a changeup. Don't know for sure the way it came out of his hand.
It became one.
And it just kind of slips out.
So just like that, the leadoff hit, the wild pitch, and the Padres have the tying run in scoring position for Josh Bell, who takes ball 3, and Dominguez all over the place.
Well, conditions coming in a little bit earlier than normal, but all lead to, this is not normal. So you're just hoping that the next guy in has his command, has his stuff.
Bell with a base hit to right field. The Padres have tied the game in the 7th. Bell on his way to 2nd. Castellanos thrown out in time. It's 2-2. And still nobody out with the go-ahead run in scoring position.
Well, that was a scouting report go to 2nd, I believe, because he would have been out with when Castellanos gets this ball. But more importantly, he ties up the game on a 3-1 fastball. That's up. Good high ball hitter, and he gets on top of it. And these Padres are resilient. Watch this right here. He gets to the ball in plenty of time, but the throw is wide. And look, he's not even in the picture. That throw gets closer to the bag. I believe he's an easy out, but aggressive running and taking advantage of scouting report on arms.
And they promptly send in a pinch runner for Josh Bell, who has tied this game at 2. Jose Azocar is going to pinch run, representing the go-ahead run. So the Padres have evened it up. The home run from Soto in the 4th. The back-to-back singles here in the 7th from Cronenworth and Bell. And now it's Brandon Drury. Boy, oh boy, Philly's got a problem here with Dominguez.
Yeah, he's not having a decent grip, obviously, with this light rain coming in. And the feel for the baseball. Again, look, these guys are awesome, right? They've been awesome. You just never know on a daily basis, especially under these conditions, if your guy's going to have his A stuff.
And when he doesn't, you can't afford to wait around.
No, you can't. And the resources that Rob Thompson was going to use in this game was going to be the winning formula resources, meaning you go all in to just keep this lead and win it, kill the series. You just hope it doesn't backfire, and you have to use a lot of resources with those games remaining. And that's why it's a little tricky when you're up 3-1 when you go for the kind of the kill.
And there is nobody warming in that Phillies bullpen. 1-0 on Brandon Drury. The only strike that Dominguez has thrown was hit to tie the game. There's a strike. The run charge to Zach Wheeler. This bullpen for the Phillies, a 1.88 ERA over the last 7 games. Brandon Drury going to get a little more stickum there. Let's go down to the dugout. Tom Verducci's got Josh Bell.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Josh, your second time seeing Dominguez in this series. Tell me about the approach and what you got.
Yeah, well, obviously it's an electric arm. I have to be on time for the fastball. And right there, I was just trying to get something that I could get on the line or anything pull side to get Crony over.
Thanks so much, Josh.
You got it. Thank you.
Brandon Drury put some stickum there on his gloves, and it looks like now he's going to go get a new pair.
Yeah, his gloves either got a little slick spot, and you can't hold a bat when you don't have the grip of that handle, right? So he got some new gloves. Whatever got on his glove didn't feel comfortable.
Well, one deadline pickup for the Padres has tied it. And really, 2 deadline pickups have done the time. Soto with a home run, Bell with a base hit, and now another in Brandon Drury with a chance to give them their first lead of Game 5. Top of the zone, and it's 1-2.
Tough pitch right there. Drury's going through his computer right now, trying to figure out what might be coming, what he can put in play to get the runner over. That was just a tied up front door slider.
1-2.
Call it front door because you start it. He really wasn't trying to get it there, but you throw that pitch into a right-hander and you catch the inside part of the plate with the break. Virtually unhittable when you execute it on a guy who's looking out over the plate.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Drury swings and misses. And a strikeout for Dominguez.
You know, it's interesting. If the order had been, if Drury wasn't up and it was Kim and or the bottom of the order, you might have seen a bunt to get the runner to third, tying run, the winning run to get to third with less than 2 outs. But you got a strikeout guy on the mound, and you obviously have a power guy at the plate. He just struck out. We talked about it last time he was in San Diego. If you got a big swing, he's going to beat you. If you can shorten the swing, you got a chance to put it in play against a power arm like Dominguez.
Ha-Seong Kim. 2-2 in the 7th as Kim rips and misses. And he's the guy whose swing you've pointed out at times has gotten too big.
Yeah, really big. I mean, that's going to be a hard task for him to catch up to a fastball unless it's out over the plate and up. And right now the infield getting a little shine to it. So look for the grounds crew to do some work soon.
Zokar, the pinch runner at second. That's a strike at the top of the zone, and it's 0-2. Two pitch. Fastball rings him up. Sir Anthony Dominguez finding his range and back-to-back strikeouts.
You know, if the pitchers have their footing, advantage pitcher in this condition, tough to see 99.
Yeah, period.
Without rain, but usually it's the struggle for the pitchers when you get wet, or a wet baseball, or a surface that you don't feel like your foot's going to get down.
Trent Grisham again finds himself in the spotlight. Pokes it foul. Strike one. 0 for 2 today. 0 for 17 with 9 strikeouts in this series. Bell has tied it. Grisham looking for the lead. Good pick by Real Muto. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Change up. If that catches the plate, I don't know if JT would have been able to backhand that. It would be more of a skip. JT's one of the best there is back there. That's why if San Diego somehow could get the runner on third, I don't think they're going to try and steal in this situation. Be a lot of pressure on the combination of ball in the dirt.
One ball, 1 strike. Here it comes. Grisham takes in the dirt, and this one does get by.
And that's what I'm saying. That the conditions are right now. If he could have stolen and gotten to third, obviously they score that run. So now the pressure goes back to the Phillies pitcher-catcher combination, because you obviously don't have the best grip on a baseball that you want, and now you got that runner at third.
Affects your pitch selection too.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it would have been a gutsy move. They weren't really holding him on, but if he could have got to third base, you know, those pitch selections and those kind of pitches right there very easily could have had the winning run, or the leading run.
Well, only 3 wild pitches on the season for Dominguez. He's behind Grisham 2-1 with a go-ahead run at third. Got a swing and a miss on a fastball that was way off of the plate, and it's 2-2.
I'm sure Grisham was thinking after those 2 pitches in the dirt, he's got to throw a heater, so he was all over the heater, but that heater cut and in off the plate.
Hard as the rain has come down all afternoon. Phillies with 2 runs in the 3rd and a Hoskins homer. Padres 1 in the 4th, 1 here in the 7th. It's another wild pitch, and Zokar scores the go-ahead run. Padres 3, Phillies 2. 2 wild pitches in 1 at-bat.
You could just see it coming with the conditions. I've been there, done that. As a pitcher, you think you've got the perfect grip, and you're hoping you do, but the weather and the condition and the pressure. This is the first one. Pulls it, catches the ground, nothing really JT could do, and then there's the one.
Second of the at-bat, 3rd of the inning. Because remember, there was one to allow Jake Cronenworth to move into scoring position.
Yeah,
And now Grisham with a fly ball to right field. Then Nick Castellanos settles under. And that ends the top of the 7th. But the game has been turned around. The Padres, facing elimination, have gone from down 2-0 to ahead 3-2 in the rain in Philly in Game 5. Padres have taken a 3-2 lead from down 2-0, facing elimination. A Soto home run, a Bell game-tying double. And then a third wild pitch allows the pinch runner Jose Azocar to come in to score. And they've got that nasty bullpen after Yu Darvish as soon as they decide to go to it. Now enjoying the lead. Sir Anthony Dominguez, who has been untouchable this postseason, just didn't have it at first, found it through the middle part of the inning, but then the wild pitches doom him.
It's been punch counter punch series.
Yeah.
Really, it's been games that normally would get out of hand and you wouldn't come back. Each team has shown resiliency and being able to come back. 2-0 in this game in elimination. Padres have shown themselves worthy of fighting the way they need to fight to keep this series alive. Hey, if they're going to San Diego, we used to have a saying, if we're down 3-1, bring the team with us, right? And that's what they're hoping to do, because they're going west no matter what.
And the mound conditions were such, Sean, that Yu Darvish did say, that needs some work, and the ground screws come out, and he's just now beginning to warm up.
Yeah, and you could see that coming. Once the inning was finished, there's a lot of slick spots on the infield. It hasn't been a really hard rain, but it's that pesty kind of rain that just clogs up your cleats, and you start feeling like, if I don't have command of the baseball, A, I'm throwing it away, get me a new one, but B, more importantly, I got to have command of my feet. When I hit that dirt downhill, it cannot move, because I'm not going to be able to pitch as a pitcher if that foot slides any more than 1 inch to 2 inches once it hits the dirt.
Well, Yu Darvish finds himself pitching with the lead for the first time. Wild pitches that allow the go-ahead run to move to third, and the go-ahead run to come in from third.
And these are crossfires. And what I mean by crossfires, that's hard for a catcher to go from one aspect of away to down and in. It's really hard on a catcher when you're expecting your guy to throw a 99-mile-an-hour fastball, gloves, arm side, and he throws it glove side. That's a hard task for JT. Conditions, no doubt, led to those wild pitches, because this guy is as good as it gets when he throws his fastball on point.
Now, the 3 wild pitches in the 1 inning is the first time in postseason history that's happened, or third time in postseason history.
Listen, I know all about wild pitches. I led the league for a while there.
Yeah.
Wild pitches. Matter of fact, in an all-star game, I have a record to never be broken. Bases loaded, I come in, 3 wild pitches, they cleared the bases. Now I won't go into detail on all of them, but the point is, for these guys in this condition, this is the reason why. We haven't seen this until it got a little sloppy and the rain got it just a little bit off of what you're comfortable with.
If you go to Cooperstown and you check out John Smoltz's plaque, first thing you'll see is that he was the wild pitch master, and
early on
more home runs during BP than any shagger ever.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too.
Top 2 headlines on the resume. Start Saturday strong with a monster Big Noon Saturday matchup. Heisman candidate C.J. Stroud leads Ohio State into their biggest test yet against Penn State. It all starts at 10 a.m. Eastern with the Big Noon Kickoff crew live from Happy Valley, only on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
Now, for Bob Melvin, I'd be careful. This delay for Yu Darvish. You've seen he hasn't had command of his fastball, but he's been spinning his breaking ball. He's got the bullpen up, but this is a pretty big delay for your starter who's been in the game most of the time. I would think at this point you're just stealing outs. Meaning if he doesn't get anybody on base, you feel comfortable leaving him out there and shortening the game even more for those horses that are about to come in.
The good Lord Goose making an appearance, and right at home with a nice little puddle there in the corner of the dugout for him. There was a goose on the field at Dodger Stadium in Game 2 when they won that game to keep things going, tying that series at a game apiece, and it's kind of been something they've leaned into. They got these ceramic geese geese. And,
very good.
Thank you. Appreciate that, John. Robert Suarez starting to loosen. Precipitation, participation, goose geese. Bryson Stott, ball one from Darvish, starts him off with something soft. And for the Phillies in the 7th inning, bottom third of the order, still going to get the big dogs up there in this game.
I'm telling you, the more spin you throw to Stott, the better it is for him. And fastballs have given him some issues. But you start seeing that breaking ball coming into you and your bat speed. He's had success on those pitches so far in the postseason.
Yeah, it's a little surprising because it's not like you have to look far back to find him hitting breaking balls. Really, all his big hits in this postseason have come on those. It's another one here, and he moves ahead 2-1. Bryson Stott, who on August 4th was hitting 196. He was playing because Gene Segura was hurt. All right, so now Segura comes back. Stott's hitting 196. No big deal that he doesn't have a spot anymore, right? But the Phillies were so confident in Stott that on that day they released Stevie Gregorius so Stott could continue to play every day. On this 2-1 from Darvish, he takes ball 3. And with that vote of confidence, he took off. He hit close to 300 and has looked well beyond his years in his postseason at bats.
Well, he's battled. I'll give him that. He's fouled off the fastballs you need to foul off, and he got the pitches he needed to get some extra base hits, and laying off pitches now on a 3-1 count.
Representing the tying run here in the 7th. Stott takes strike 2. Nothing but spin from Yu Darvish.
I mean, honestly, this is all he feels like he has command over right now, because there really isn't, for a guy who's been so good on the year with his fastball, and then you throw his breaking balls anytime you want. It's amazing we haven't seen a fastball in this at bat.
Let's see if this is a spot where Stott sits on a breaker and lets it rip. He does. To right. Soto can't get it. Stott makes the turn. Soto's throw not in time. Leadoff double. Tie run in scoring position just like that.
That just was not a good sequence out of Darvish, and that's going to be it for Darvish. He threw breaking ball after breaking ball. You can't do that to a big league hitter unless he's never gotten a hit on it. And Stott, what a good piece of hitting there.
And that will be the end of the line for Yu Darvish. Bryson Stott's leadoff double chases the Padres starter from the game and triggers their biggest strength. Back into the bullpen. Here comes Suarez.
With the best of them. He rarely swings and misses in the strike zone.
Corners pinch in, and he takes a strike on a fastball. Robert Suarez, one of the breakout stars for the Padres this season, gave up a home run on the first pitch that he threw in Game 2. That's the first run that he's allowed this postseason. Corner still in tight as the 0-1 comes home, and Segura fouls it back. Strike 2.
Well, normally when you're at home, I mean, this is not a play that happens too often. You would bunt a guy over to third if you trust the guy behind you could make contact and drive him in. But Marsh has had trouble making contact with fastballs, so they're going to want 3 cracks at trying to score the tying run with a runner on second. But in these conditions, boy, it sure would be nice if the Phillies could do what the Padres did and get a runner at third less than 2 outs.
0-2 pitch. Segura off the hands to right center. Soto's got it. 1 gone in the 7th. Big first out there for Suarez.
Well, Stott had not had success on fastballs, kind of documented that, but he's now 4 for 11 on non-fastballs in the postseason. Don't really understand that strategy. If you don't think he's going to pitch to more than one hitter and not throw your fastball, you just as well bring in your closer in a clean inning.
Brandon Marsh, the 9-hitter, with a tying run at second, 1 gone in the 7th inning. First one from Suarez. Marsh watches a fastball on the outside corner at 97. Now, Marsh did some good things in the division series. He had a 3-run home run in the clinching game. but he's 0 for 12 with 6 Ks in the championship series.
Well, he hit a breaking ball for that home run, and if he hits a fastball up in the zone, you tip your hat to him, but he hasn't been able to catch up to a fastball up in the zone.
That's where they're going. Missed with it.
He did miss with it. You cannot miss again. Now, if you're Suarez, you shake your head there knowing you got away with one. These next 2 pitches have to be above the strike zone. You see where the catcher's glove is? He pulls it down. Now, part of that could be the conditions and the fact that they're not ideal. But this next pitch should be about a foot higher.
Oh, 2 pitch. Fastball right where he wanted it. Top of the zone to get Marsh.
Now that's pitching. That's stuff and pitching to a batter's weakness. He made the adjustment. He pulled his fastball down. He got it fouled off, and he wasn't going to miss throwing the ball up. Now this conversation at the mound is going to be talking about how to attack Schwarber and what they think he would rather do based on the confidence of the pitcher and who's on deck. The last thing you want to hear your pitching coach say is, or at any point, like, hey, pitch around this guy. And you know what I would say? No, let's walk him then. Unless you have a veteran guy that you know you can literally pitch around without making a mistake, all you're doing is inviting a negative thought into a place that you don't want a negative thought.
Before Schwarber bats, a quick word from DraftKings.
This postseason, bet $5, win 200 in free bets if your team wins. Download the app and get in on the action.
The one thing you always want to have your catcher and pitching coach tell you is a positive command. Don't use the word don't. Don't. Like, if you say don't hang a breaking ball, the brain only knows hang a breaking ball. It doesn't process the word don't. So that's why you say pound away or affirmative action. You don't give a negative when you're trying to describe how you want to get somebody out.
Nothing negative about this guy lately. Kyle Schwarber has been on a tear in this championship series. First pitch, taken high. 46th postseason game for Kyle Schwarber. 8 seasons in the big league, 7 trips to the postseason. But he's come through time and again. Stott at second, 2 gone. Suarez fires. Schwarber takes a ball, and it's 2-0. After Schwarber, it's Rhys Hoskins.
Schwarber walking around, struggling with the knee a little bit, you know, and just thinking, what is he going to throw me here? What can I sit on?
Squeezed on a changeup.
Well, there's really no reason to throw another pitch. You send him to first base. Really good changeup right there in the strike zone.
That's what they're going to do, John. There is ball 4 issued to Schwarber, and so they're going to take their chances with Rhys Hoskins, who is the man that hit the homer against Suarez. First pitch that he saw in San Diego.
Yeah, absolutely. And now what your command is, fastball away, slider away, everything away. Don't miss middle to middle in if you're thinking alongside in the San Diego dugout and with the catcher. And if you're Rhys Hoskins, you're looking in a coffee can for that first pitch that you can drive and maybe get a gap. Or check in with your 6th home run.
He could do it again, could he? Rhys Hoskins with a chance to do it again. He hits the ball in the air to right center field, but not deep. Juan Soto's there, and Robert Suarez comes on and strands the tying run. High Pacific, right here on FS1. Aaron Nola would go for the Phillies. Blake Snell for the Padres. Rematch of Game 2 of the National League Championship Series, and those guys gave up 10 runs combined.
Yeah.
But a little bit misleading.
Yeah. Nola left with some runners on. Snell, that was an inning he'd like to forget, but boy, he gave his team a chance to win that game.
Jose Alvarado here for the 8th. 9-1-2 for the Padres. There's strike 1 from the Hard-throwing left-hander that's tossed double the number of 99+ mile-per-hour pitches of any other pitcher in the postseason.
This is the tough spot for the Phillies. Rob Thompson. The reason it's tough is normally these guys are in a high leverage winning situation. You're down now, and so you win the game, great. If you don't win the game, then how many of those games can they go moving forward, and how much can you expect of them? So
on 3 pitches, turns this one up to 100. 1 away in the 8th.
1 run is definitely within the realm of why you would use these guys.
Top of the order for the Padres, Jurickson Profar is 0 for 3 today. That is a fair ball. Snuck inside the bag. Ricochets in front of Castellanos, and it's a single for Profar. On base for the 11th time in 12 postseason games.
And what do you know? Soto gets to hit with a runner on. I don't know the last time that happened. It hasn't happened tonight.
It's only the 13th time, John, in 40 plate appearances for Soto and Machado in this series where they've had a man on base.
Yeah, combined though, right?
Yes.
The 2 of them.
Yep.
And part of that has to do with Soto getting on base.
Yeah, right.
So it's really been the leadoff hitter that has not given Soto as many chances as maybe Soto has given Machado chances. But nonetheless, his solo home run kind of quieted the crowd a little bit, and 2-0 lead, cut the deficit in half, and then the 2 runs in the top of the 7th.
That was back in the 4th for Soto, who did not homer over the first 10 games of this postseason. He's homered in games 3 and 4, or games 4 and 5. First one from Alvarado is in the dirt and stopped by Real Muto.
It's tough managing, especially this time. It's probably a little easier to manage if you're Bob Melvin than if you're Rob Thompson, believe it or not. Because you're down 3-1. I know you can't afford another loss, so you would think that would be harder to manage if you're Bob Melvin. But really the hardest part is when you're up 3-1, when to pull the trigger on your high leverage bullpen guys. I mean, Wheeler was kind of dealing, and he did give up the hit, and then that's when they pulled him. And of course, we know what happened. The 2-run score in the top of the 7th, and now they're behind. So interesting how the strategy plays out when you're on an elimination game for both sides.
2-0. Alvarado throws. Soto takes ball 3. Bob Melvin knows that it's pedal to the metal. For Rob Thompson, it might be pedal to the metal, but it's like, do I let off a little bit?
Yeah, the close game's always the one that puts the team that's ahead, that wants to use their high leverage resources. The hiccup happens, and then you got to use them possibly the next 2 games or the next game for sure.
A 4-pitch walk to Soto, and 2 on for the Padres in the 8th. That's the first walk of the day issued by the Phillies. Something they've been really good at through this postseason, not walking guys. But in some trouble here, 1st and 2nd for Machado. Padres looking for some massive insurance. Machado's 0 for 3 today after he hit a home run yesterday. He's 10th in the postseason in his career. 4th one of this postseason. Well, like Harper in Philly, Machado in his 4th season in San Diego, that big contract, and like Harper, worth every bit of it. Always a good player, but over those 4 seasons, he's grown into the leader of that clubhouse. He's grown into the example and the unofficial team captain, and especially this year, Fernando Tatis Jr., that whole saga. He took it to another level, both in his leadership and his performance.
Here's the interesting strength that Machado has. He likes the ball low. Alvarado, two seam, even though it gets to 100 miles an hour, typically throws the ball low.
Fouls back 99, and it's 0-2. It's really coming down, falling off the helmet. Machado asking for time, getting in his eyes a little bit. And anytime there's a longer gap between pitches than normal, these pitchers are throwing the ball away and getting a new one.
Yeah, you know, depending on how they like, some pitchers hold the ball in their hand behind their back, some of them leave it in the glove. And
didn't like that one either.
No, this is what you do. I mean, if it doesn't feel right, and certainly you don't want to throw a pitch.
Jose Alvarado is the guy who in Atlanta during the division series was not happy with the mound and made sure that they got it fixed, so he's not afraid to make sure the conditions are just how he wants them. Well, fans back in San Diego are looking out their windows seeing 67 degrees and sunshine, saying, man, that looks miserable there.
Sunny in San Diego? Are you sure?
Crazy. Here comes New Rosenberg. Okay, get some dirt, some mud off those cleats.
You really got to grind in these conditions. It's definitely something that doesn't happen a lot, but it gets you out of your comfort zone, whether it's the gripping the bat, gripping the baseball, having your footing, all the things that come natural when the conditions are right, a little bit unnatural.
2 on with 1 out, and a 3-2 game in the 8th. Here's an 0-2 pitch to Machado. Digs it out, short center field. Out goes Bryson Stott. He's there. Machado's the second out of the 8th.
I know it's hard to do, but man, I always feel like, why don't you drop those and just see if somebody on the bases panics. Infield flies called. It's too hard to do, right?
Yeah,
it just get the crowd going crazy, and then maybe the runner loses his mind and starts running.
Maybe take that for a spin in spring training one year. Maybe do it in April. No, 2 gone for Jake Cronenworth, whose leadoff single last inning ignited the go-ahead rally. When you look ahead to the bottom of the 8th, the Phillies are going to have 3, 4, and 5 coming up. Josh Hader not warming yet. Robert Suarez got 3 outs. He went 2 full innings 4 times so far this year. Strike on Cronenworth.
I waited my whole career for a pop-up bunt that came back to me with a runner on first, and I told everybody, I told my manager, when this happens, I'm turning 2. I looked at the runner, I looked at the batter, he didn't run, I dropped it on purpose, I picked it up, threw it in center field.
Ah! It was right there for you.
It was right there. So sometimes the best plans just don't always work out. My manager came in, he goes, how'd that work out for you, Smoltzy?
Smart guy.
Just catch the ball.
Profar's the runner at second, Soto at first. Both can run. Alvarado deals in 0-1. Cronenworth swings and misses, nothing in 2. The conditions adding to the drama. Two on, 2 out, and an 0-2 pitch. Alvarado's 1-2 in the dirt. Realmuto keeps it in the area. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You know, you forget the baseballs are on the side pouches of the umpires, right? Sometimes they get wet, right? They're sitting in there and they try to bring in as many fresh ones they can, but depending on what the ball feels like, Alvarado's putting his hand in the glove the entire time when he steps on the rubber, just to try to keep the water off of both his hand and the ball.
On a 2-2 pitch, Cronenworth bounces one softly to Gene Segura. He'll gobble it up and throw him out. Jose Alvarado with a scoreless 8th inning. The teeth of the Phillies lineup coming up. Realmuto, Harper, and Castellanos. On OneRunChop.com. Yeah, don't miss a thing this postseason. Follow @MLB on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to keep up with everything baseball.
You know, regardless of the outcome of this series, it might go the Phillies' way, let's say, of 3-4 games to 1. It's been tight. Yeah. It's been back and forth. It's been resilient. We thought these two teams were going to be coming in evenly matched. They really have been. The Phillies just have had a little bit more explosion in the games they needed their offense to show up.
Well, it's an offense, John, that scored 31 runs over the first 4 games here, and they at some point are going to see this man in Josh Hader. Today they've been limited to just the 2 runs on 1 swing from Rhys Hoskins. The Padres pitching staff that has been their biggest strength all season, trying to get this series back to San Diego, doing their part against this hot Phillies lineup. And they're going to get the best that this lineup has to offer here. The heart of the order, Realmuto and Harper and Castellanos. Robert Suarez, who came on to strand the leadoff double last inning, keeping the Padres in front, is ready to go. They're just getting the rest of the infield ready. And it does look like the rain has lessened again. And Ken reported earlier that once we got through the relatively hard rain, which we just saw, should be clear for a bit. Let's hope we can trust Weatherman Kenny more than we can trust our weather apps.
Yeah, for sure. I live on that app.
Which one?
Weather app. It doesn't matter for golf. I need to know.
Yeah.
Is it going to rain? Are we going to get the tee time in?
It's essential.
I can guarantee you, we go to San Diego, I'm going to be able to get my tee time out. Weather beautiful there.
Well, these Dragon Slayers, these 2 teams. 87 wins for the Phillies this year, the last team in the field. The Padres won 89 games, went on to take down the 101-win Mets, the 111-win Dodgers. Today, Yu Darvish, 6+ innings, keeping the Phillies at bay, giving the offense time to overcome the early deficit.
You know, he'd probably tell you that was not his best game, but he grinded it out. I mean, he was kind of all over the place. He didn't have fastball command, but he threw enough breaking balls to keep the hitters off bay, and he grinded out temporarily a 3-2 Padres lead.
All right, so it is Suarez for Realmuto. Tying run at the plate. That's strike 1. Does he go to Josh Hader for Bryce Harper after 1 hitter?
I think you go to Bryce. I think you go to Bryce Harper if you're Bob Melvin and there's a runner on. That'd be a lot to ask to bring in Hader to get 5 outs. It's not an impossibility. He's done it before. He just hasn't done it, but maybe one time he's gotten 4 outs this year.
Yeah, it's the only time he's pitched more than an inning. Realmuto's laid on a fastball, and it's 0-2. That was game 2 against the Dodgers. Hader went 1 1/3. Suarez, meanwhile, has gone 2 full innings 4 different times. So a little more recent track record of some length. Realmuto 1 for 3 today, 3 for 16 in the series. Stays alive, fouling off that fastball.
I just am watching these pitchers, and you know, they look down. You don't ever look where your foot goes. You're looking to where the ball goes, and you're trusting that where your foot goes, it's going to land and allow you to plant and throw. But when you're looking where your foot goes, you start getting worried about that footing.
Realmuto with a base hit to start the 8th. Tying one on. Harper coming up. No sign of Bob Melvin just yet.
You don't think when Bryce Harper signed that mega deal to come here, he had visions of having a huge hit to send his team to the World Series?
Bryce had never won a postseason series prior to this year. Not only did he reach the postseason, he's been the best hitter in the postseason. This is the deepest he's ever played. He's one win, and in this case, one swing perhaps, from the World Series.
It's the deepest you'll ever see a right fielder play in this ballpark. Soto is on the track almost.
Strike one. If you're Suarez, how are you going after the two-time MVP?
You got to elevate from this point on. You got to throw fastballs up, and you got to keep throwing them up. Because as great as Harper is, the weak spot has become the fastball up. His swing, aggressive, big, early, tightens it up. And he's able to go the other way if you make a mistake as a pitcher.
Here's the 0-1. Harper bends back on a very high fastball, and the count evens up.
Now, some people just can't get the ball up at will, and some have the release point that gets there. I would think Suarez has comfortable throwing belt-high fastballs at 98 miles an hour.
Here's 1-1. Harper with a big rip and a foul, and it's strike two. '31-year-old rookie on the mound in Robert Suarez. Newly turned 30-year-old. One-time prodigy, now two-time MVP, Bryce Harper at the plate. The 1-2 pitch. Harper pokes it foul.
See, got to be careful out over the plate up, because we already saw what Harper could do. It hit a homer the other way. That's got to be tighter to him above that strike zone. It is a small area, but if you miss up, at least you're changing the eye level of Harper. If it's away, he has a chance to still get the barrel of the bat to it and go the other way because he's strong enough.
Tying run aboard. Go ahead run at the plate. 8th inning, game 5. Harper cracks it down the line, foul. Staying alive against another fastball. Checking that bat to make sure it's in one piece. And Bryce said this week, I live for these moments. This is why I came to Philadelphia. A decade in the majors, but these moments few and far between. None bigger than this one. The 1-2 pitch. Takes it low. Changeup that was a strike for a long time. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
If you're Harper, you know he basically only throws you 2 pitches, fastball and changeup. He has the curveball and slider, but he doesn't throw it to left-handers very much, so you can eliminate it. If he throws it, you got to react to the area.
On the 7th pitch, Harper hits one in the air, left center field, back it goes. Harper, the swing of his life. Bryce Harper has the Phillies on the verge of the World Series.
And this is what I was talking about. He can go the other way. The ball was not up. The ball was out over the plate. He's strong enough. He's done it before. He inked a long deal, and this could be the defining moment for Bryce Harper and the Philadelphia Phillies if they win this.
This is like something straight out of a movie, and it doesn't usually happen like this. And the superstars during the regular season, yeah, they show up now and then in the postseason, but a lot of times they don't get too many chances to be the guy. They don't get pitches to hit. Harper rarely does, but when he does, when he has, he's come through. His 5th home run of the postseason, the biggest home run of his life.
I'm telling you, he gets big early, swings and misses. Probably the most swing and miss on first pitch I've ever seen him. But he's letting the barrel go, right? Trying to connect, and then he shortens and shortens and shortens and starts refining that swing to the point where he has made a concerted effort this postseason on 2 strikes to go the other way. And pull early, go the other way, didn't get the ball up. Wow, what a moment so far.
Castellanos for the 1-2 count. Down swinging, 1 gone in the 8th. The man of the moment is with Ken Rosenthal.
Bryce, you hit a 2-2 sinker. As the at-bat progressed, what was your thought process?
Yeah, I felt like I was seeing it better as the at-bat got longer and longer. I felt like I was just seeing more pitches and felt like I was seeing it better. He beat me with the heater when we were in San Diego, so just trying to stay on that pitch. And once I took the changeup 2-1 or 1-2, whatever it was, I knew he was going to come with his heater. It's his best pitch. So just trying to take the best swing I could and was able to do damage with it.
When the ball went over the fence, what was your thought process there?
Man, I just did that pretty much. I mean, I'm so excited to get back in the dugout to see my teammates, and man, I just want to win this game. We got 3 outs away.
Bryce, thank you.
Thank you.
Alec Bohm grounds out to short. You know, Bryce Harper, a decade into his major league career, he's done what seemed impossible. He's fulfilled the hype that exceeded just about that of any other player that's ever played this game. Started out as a prodigy with those impossible expectations. A 2-time MVP who hadn't had a chance to put it on display on the game's biggest stage. Now he gets his chance, and he comes through with a legendary swing. Bryson stop, strike 1.
Well, he's been unbelievable, and the Phillies have been unbelievable with 2 strikes. 4 of the 6 hits today with 2 strikes and damage. 14 2-strike hits over the last 3 games. That's getting it done when you're really at the pitcher's mercy.
And at this point, it would be a very fitting exclamation on this run for the Phillies. David Robertson, no stranger to late games in the postseason, is getting ready for the 9th inning. Padres will have 5, 6, and 7 coming up. A few months ago, it was Rob Thompson for interim. Now they're nominating him for president. Oh, and 2 to stop. Look out. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And you can't see this enough.
Yeah, he hit it. I watched the left fielder, didn't move. Bryce didn't move for a while. Don't blame him. And I mean, euphoric feeling in the Phillies dugout.
Down, swinging on a changeup. The 8th inning of Game 5 of the 2022 National League Championship Series. Bryce Harper with a swing of his life. One of the great swings in Phillies history. And now the bullpen will try and lock it down and finish off this improbable run. The Phillies are on the verge of the National League pennant. David Robertson, who's pitched in more postseason games than anybody on this Phillies roster, is going to try to lock down a trip to the World Series. The Padres have 5, 6, and 7 coming up. That'll be Myers, Drury, and Kim.
Well, that's a shock to your system if you're the Padres. You got to find a way to grind out a run somehow. And if you're the Phillies and Robertson, you want to get that leadoff hitter out really badly. But this has been an incredible game, an incredible series. By no means, if it ends up 4-1, was it a dominating series to where you look back and go, well, Philly had that the whole way.
Yeah. See, Edmundo Sosa has replaced Alec Bohm at third, and here is Will Myers. This is the third player in this spot in the order. Josh Bell tied the game with a double back in the 7th. Jose Zokar pinch ran for him, and that was all fine because this is the DH spot. So now Myers officially into the game facing David Robertson, who's pitched in 3 games in this postseason and given up 1 run. Robertson comes home and starts the 9th with a strike. Strike 2 on a pair of breakers.
Such a tough spot for Will Myers coming off the bench here in the 9th. Facing a lot of spin.
One ball, 2 strikes.
It's so hard to tell yourself as a hitter that pitch it has to start on the inner part of the plate, and then you got to worry about the height of it. He's got 2 different breaking balls, one that he'll be able to go east and west, and the other one goes north and south. He virtually throws nothing straight.
His 1-2 pitch. Myers takes it in the dirt, and the count evens 2-2. Like in a perfect world here for Rob Thompson, he would have either Dominguez or Alvarado pitching in this 9th inning, but they've both already been used. Dominguez in the 7th, Alvarado in the 8th. And so it's Robertson delivering 2-2 to Myers. And striking him out. One gone in the 9th.
At first, Myers thought might have been on the swing, but he called it on the pitch.
Phillies 4, Padres 3. The Phillies 2 outs away. Brendan Drury, strike 1. Center cut breaker, but he comes up empty.
Yeah, big swing right there. That was the pitch. Let's see if he works off the height of that and tries to get it lower in the strike zone. Drury coming out of his shoes on that swing.
On an 0-1 pitch. High fastball, no swing, 1 ball, 1 strike. Brendan Drury hit 28 home runs during the regular season. He's got a home run in this series. Robertson's 1-1. Drury takes in the dirt. The Phillies snapped the longest postseason drought in the National League as the last team into the field. They won just 87 games this year. They had a managerial change mid-season. And now 2 outs away from the most improbable trip to the World Series. The 2-1 pitch. Takes off on him. Ball 3. Ha-Seong Kim on deck. It's the bottom half of the Padres lineup that's been quiet this entire series. Trying to find it on their last breath. On a 3-1 pitch, Brandon Drury takes ball 4, and the Padres have the tying run aboard. So Robertson with the weight of the world on his shoulders here, trying to lock this one down. And looking back to the bottom of the 8th inning, there was a discussion about, do you use Josh Hader against Bryce Harper? Winds up not coming in the game. The home run happens against Robert Suarez, and certainly something that is going to be talked about around San Diego and asked of Bob Melvin. Ranger Suarez, who would be in line to start Game 7 of this series, is warming in the bullpen. Ha-Seong Kim. 1 ball, no strikes.
Yeah, that would have been a tough call. I understand the knee-jerk reaction is to bring in Hader, but then what? You know, you're asking him to get 6 outs. I think that's a little much. And Suarez really hadn't given up much, and just the fact that he made the 1 pitch to a great hitter. So, yeah, it's going to be talked about. That's why it's always tough to manage this time of the year.
There's a strike, 1-1. That snapped a string of 5 consecutive balls that led to Ranger Suarez getting up in the bullpen. Tying run aboard, go ahead run at the plate. 1 gone, 9th inning. Ha-Seong Kim with a good take, and he's ahead 2-1.
You really got to be disciplined now. You got to see the height of that pitch, and you got to recognize the spin. And if it doesn't start about the belt high, it's more than likely going to be a ball. But good luck trying to make that decision split second under these circumstances and pressure.
Drury the runner at first. 2-1 to the plate. Pinpoint, strike 2.
You couldn't dot it any better than that. Cutter on the outside part of the plate.
The 2-2. Just outside, and it's the second impressive take from Ha-Seong Kim. The count is full. Tying run at first, 1 gone in the 9th. 3-2 pitch. Fouled off. Phillies lead this best of 7, 3 games to 1. David Robertson, another 3-2. Ball 4. Tying run into scoring position, and the go-ahead run aboard. How long does Rob Thompson wait to go to Ranger Suarez?
Whew, you talk about a tough call there for a starter. I know he's pitched relief before, but in this situation right here, it is a gut-wrenching feeling if you're Rob Thompson, knowing that you've got one of your veteran relievers on the mound.
They're going to send Real Muto out there for a visit. Looks like it's going to happen here.
And a young starter in Suarez.
Trent Grisham's the hitter. So that too would set up a lefty-lefty for Ranger Suarez. That will do it for Robertson, and Suarez will try to make his name one of those names you talk about, a starter coming into the game to lock something down for his team. This would be a trip to the World Series. Brings in Ranger Suarez.
You know, I talk about Ranger Suarez as a starter having a slow heartbeat. That's as a starter. I can imagine what his heartbeat is right now. Now, it's not their elimination game, but it's a chance to take his team into the World Series. So you know his heartbeat's going a little bit. Will he have the touch or will he overthrow? He's not one of those guys that needs to be a max effort guy. When he's good, it's late life, good changeup, good curveball. He's in a unique situation, to say the least.
5 scoreless innings as the starter in Game 3 for the 27-year-old from Venezuela, who's one of the best ground ball pitchers in baseball, in a spot where a ground ball could end it. Trent Grisham lays the bunt down. Suarez has it, throws to first in time, calmly to get out number 2. Tying run to third, go-ahead run into scoring position.
Wow, that's a man you know that's struggling at the plate. I'm sure he's trying to bunt for a base hit. But in the 9th inning, you're down to your last out. He was trying to drag that ball with him and get it past the pitcher's mound. And he just couldn't do it. Good job. And really, that's not the easiest play for Suarez coming in. That just shows you what a defender and what an athlete he is, because you could have easily, with a wet ball, chucked that one.
It's up to Austin Nola. Suarez fires. Pop fly. Right field. Segura's out. Castellanos on. And the Philadelphia Phillies are going to the World Series. This most improbable run is still going. And this improbable run has just about the most likely hero to it. Bryce Harper with a game-winning home run in the 8th inning. And then in the 9th, with a couple base runners, Ranger Suarez comes on with 1 out, and 2 pitches later, John, the game is over.
That's unbelievable. No chance to even get nervous. I mean, give the young man credit.